Luka Modrić hits his 200th international cap. Croatia 1, Panama 0. A clutch substitution settles it. High drama in this World Cup group stage. Modrić secures his first win of the tournament, setting up a massive final match day against Ghana. Welcome back. Another critical World Cup group stage matchup is in the books. Croatia edges Panama 1-0, finally locking in their first 3 points of the tournament. Now, this wasn't a 5-0 goal fest. It wasn't a 90-minute dominant blowout. But it was tense. It was gritty. And it had that true World Cup atmosphere. Because for Croatia, this wasn't just another standard group match. This was a definitive must-win game. Following their 4-2 opening loss to England, Croatia had zero margin for error. A defeat tonight would have essentially pushed them to the brink of elimination. Failure to secure 3 points meant Modric's World Cup run was facing an early exit. But when it mattered most, Croatia relied on their veteran tournament experience. They made decisive halftime adjustments, and Ante Budimir provided the clinical finish to keep their tournament hopes very much alive. More importantly, this marked Luka Modric's 200th cap for his country. At 40 years old, Modrić hits the 200-match milestone on the biggest stage, and captains Croatia to their first win of this campaign. You couldn't write a better script. The match was tightly contested from the opening whistle. Panama knew they needed a result, and Croatia understood the stakes were entirely too high. Both sides were cautious in the first half. The tempo was measured, and clear-cut chances were rare. In fact, by the 43rd minute, each team had registered just a single shot on target. What does that tell you? This wasn't an open, end-to-end tactical battle. It was a psychological war of attrition, where the first mistake would likely cost the match. Croatia dominated possession, but their attacking transitions weren't as fluid as expected. They tried to unlock Panama's defense from the flanks, but the quality of delivery in the final third was lacking. They just missed that final connecting pass. Panama, on the other hand, played with a lot of physicality. They were aggressive in their duels and dangerous on the counter. Their biggest chance came in the 23rd minute. A cross from the right led to a powerful header, forcing Livakovic to tip it over the crossbar. That nearly silenced the Croatian supporters. If that goes in, we are talking about a completely different match. The turning point came right after the interval. Croatia manager Zlatko Dalic didn't hesitate, making immediate tactical changes at halftime by bringing on Budimir and Kramaric. In hindsight, that was a masterclass in in-game management. In the 54th minute, Croatia finally found the breakthrough. Pasalic delivered a key pass to unlock the defense. Stanisic drove down the right flank to cut it back, and Budimir was there to finish it from close range. 1-0, Croatia finally breaks the deadlock. It looked simple, but that goal is worth its weight in gold. It didn't just give them the lead. It laid the foundation for Croatia's first victory of this tournament. Budimir came off the bench and found the back of the net in under 10 minutes. That is exactly what you want from your center forward. You don't need them to dominate possession for 90 minutes. You need them to seize the moment and change the game with one touch. Of course, the spotlight remains on Luka Modrić. This was his 200th international appearance, making him the first player in Croatian history to achieve this incredible milestone. To put that into perspective, hitting 100 caps solidifies you as an international legend. Reaching 150 is rare air. But 200 caps, that makes you an absolute icon of the sport. Modrić didn't need a goal to dictate this game. He controlled the midfield in his signature style, recycling possession, switching the play, and managing the tempo to ensure Croatia maintained composure under pressure. For this squad, Modrić is more than just a playmaker. He is the emotional anchor of the team. As long as he's on the pitch, this team will not panic. In the 61st minute, a hard challenge on Modrić drew a yellow card for Panama. That sequence tells the whole story. Even at 40 years old, he remains the primary target opponents have to shut down. He might not covering the same ground he did a decade ago, but his reading of the game, positioning, and veteran intelligence allow him to dictate the match completely. It was a memorable night for the traveling support. Toronto felt like a home match for Croatia. Thousands of fans packed the surrounding areas, flooding the streets in their iconic red and white checkers. Chants echoed throughout the city, flags were flying, and they even unveiled a massive 100-meter national banner. Many supporters traveled across the globe just to witness Modric's historic 200th match firsthand. That is the beauty of international football. For these fans, tonight wasn't merely about securing a 1-0 result. It was about watching a player who defined a generation of Croatian football take center stage at another World Cup, guiding his country back from the edge of elimination. In terms of attendance, over 40,000 fans filled the Toronto stadium. While official numbers are still being finalized, the atmosphere inside the ground unmistakably favored the Europeans. Every time Modrić touched the ball, every attacking sequence, and every crucial defensive stop drew massive cheers from the crowd. The match was not without its controversial moments. In the 49th minute, Croatian keeper Livakovic caught a late challenge after a clearance, but the referee let play continue, drawing heavy frustration from the Croatian players and fans. Panama argued it was simply standard physical contact. Beyond that sequence, Panama created several opportunities out wide but repeatedly wasted their final delivery. Their lack of precision on set pieces ultimately cost them a chance to equalize. At the final whistle, the relief from the Croatian side was visible. It wasn't a dominant display, but it is a massive 3 points. The squad embraced on the pitch, celebrating Budimir as the match winner. While Modrić applauded the traveling supporters who turned out in full force. The fans continued their celebrations in the stands, waving flags, beating drums, and chanting long into the night. Because they know Croatia's World Cup journey continues. Looking at the standings, this group is completely wide open. England sits on 4 points, Ghana has 4 points, Croatia is on 3 points. And Panama remains on 0. Croatia currently sits third in the group, but control their own destiny for knockout qualification. In the final round, Croatia faces Ghana in a decisive matchup. Everything is on the line. If Croatia defeats Ghana, they hit 6 points and lock in a spot in the round of 16, with a chance to top the group depending on other results. A draw against Ghana leaves them on 4 points, meaning they'd rely on the third-place wildcard standings. But a loss means Croatia is heading home early. So while tonight's 1-0 victory was vital, it is just the precursor to another high-stakes finale. Potential knockout opponents add another layer of intrigue. Should Croatia advance as group runners-up, they would face the runner-up from Group K, which could mean a matchup against Colombia, Portugal, or DR Congo. If they advance as one of the best third-placed teams, they'll likely draw a top-seeded group winner, setting up a potential heavyweight clash against the Portuguese. Either way, Luka Modrić's final World Cup chapter remains open. Following tonight's result, Croatia hits several key milestones. First, they secure their first 3 points of the tournament, bouncing back from that opening match defeat to England. Second, they log their first clean sheet of the campaign, restoring some crucial defensive stability. Third, Luka Modrić earns his historic 200th international cap, solidifying his status as Croatia's greatest of all time. Fourth, Ante Budimir proves to be the ultimate super sub, delivering the decisive match winner. Fifth, Dalek's tactical halftime changes pay off immediately, showing his sharp tactical awareness in tournament football. And finally, Croatia climbs back into qualification contention, setting up an absolute blockbuster finale against Ghana. That is the story from a dramatic night in Toronto.